What up, everybody? Welcome to Trailer Park, the movie review show that focuses on the trailers of the movies. I am your host, Richard Barlow, and today we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. We have the new trailer for Frozen 2. We have some casting news at DC that people are not so thrilled about. And I also have a movie review of Rocketman, which came out last weekend. So without further ado, let's just get right to it. Okay, so the new trailer dropped today for Frozen 2, Disney's newest movie. That, of course, is the follow-up to the massively popular Frozen. Seems like people aren't necessarily... Well, it's kind of split right down the middle. A lot of people are on board because Frozen was crazy popular, so people want more of it. And a lot of people are saying that we don't need this one. I'm kind of more on the excited for it side, not overly excited, but I don't think that this movie is completely unnecessary. The way Disney has been going and the kind of money that they are making, I don't see this being a cash grab. Disney doesn't need a cash grab anymore. If this is coming out, then I feel like they feel that there is a story to tell. And again, this wasn't, if it was a cash grab, I think it would have come immediately following Frozen and the success of that. You know, it's been quite a while since we got that first Frozen movie, so I don't think that they're just after the money. I think they actually took time and found a story that was worth telling. As far as the trailer goes, this one still isn't showing us much. This is considered an official trailer, but it's telling us really not much more than the teaser told us. And that also gives me faith, because I think if they weren't sure of their movie, you know, they would be throwing so much at us to try to get us to come to it. But the fact that they're not really showing us anything gives me faith that they think that this story is just going to sell itself. You know, they do have the popularity of Frozen going for them, so people are going to go see it. But the fact that they're not really telling us anything in these trailers, I think means that they are so confident in the story and the quality of this movie that they think people are going to go see it. The people who are excited for it are going to go see it, and then word of mouth will spread. And when a studio does that when it comes to marketing, it normally means they're sitting on something pretty good. The time to be scared is when movies throw so much marketing at you and so much story and reveal way too much in the trailers. I mean, it's not always 100% recipe for disaster if they give you a spoiler in the trailer or something like that. But a lot of times if a movie reveals too much in the trailer, it's because they want you to get excited. They want to have those moments to bring you in because they're not really sure of what they have. So the less a trailer tells you, the more confident a studio is in their project, and that is pretty promising. Because really, in this one, we have, you know, Elsa and Anna have to go and travel north and find this mysterious land or something like that. Maybe it sounds like the source of Elsa's powers, or something, or some other sort of magic. Maybe a magic that hers has to defeat because it's now, you know, doing something to their land. Again, it doesn't really say anything. It looks pretty epic. The mood they've set is, you know, seems more adventurous than the first one. The first one was, of course, a very exciting adventure. But this one, you know, everyone's teamed up. They're all, you know, Elsa's more sure of herself. Anna and her relationship is stronger. So they have more, you know, of course, every sequel has to be bigger. And this one can be bigger because they're going to be stronger because they're not against each other. So I'm really interested to see what exactly is this mysterious power. Is it that maybe Elsa's starting, you know, her powers are developing so much that she's losing control again, so they have to go to where it started to, you know, rein her back in, train her. The trailer doesn't really set it up for that. You know, the line where they say we thought Elsa's power was too much for this world, and now we have to hope that it's enough, or whatever he said. The troll guy says something like that, which suggests that she's gonna have to use her powers for good and to save the world. So pretty epic. It looks more, we're not doing everything in winter. It looks more like fall. Hopefully Olaf is okay. Of course, he's like everybody's favorite, so we don't want to lose him. But I mean, that could be something that happens. I don't know. Maybe powers protect him from thawing out. But if we're going somewhere where it's not winter and we're going somewhere where it's not freezing, how will he fare? That's what I'm curious to know. Other than that, yeah, I can't say too much more. It's a good trailer. It's exciting. It gets me looking forward to the movie without telling too much. Which also kind of, I think, means maybe there's some twists coming in there. Some real shocking moments. Hopefully. Those are always great in movies. And they haven't revealed anything really in the trailer. So anything that is any sort of a twist will actually hopefully hit, because there's nothing to set us up for that or suggest or like give anything away. So I'm excited. I think this will be good, but only time will tell. Matt Reeves has finally picked his new Batman. There's rumors popping up on the internet about who might play one of his greatest villains, and video game movies. They're still trying them. To take a closer look at these stories, we're going to have to go before the trailer. Matt Reeves has finally settled on who he's going to cast as Bruce Wayne in his upcoming film, The Batman, and it is Twilight star Robert Pattinson. Of course, people not so happy about this. I had no doubt when I heard about this casting that people were going to be mad. Twilight, not a great movie, and that's what most people associate Robert Pattinson with. However, I'm fine with this. He played a brooding character in Twilight. So him being cast as a brooding character isn't that crazy. And here's the thing. He's a good actor. He has other works under his belt, but most people aren't looking at those. Every actor, most actors anyways, have a couple bad movies in their past. And that doesn't mean they're bad actors. They made these choices. This was at the beginning of his career, and he was breaking into Hollywood. Obviously, there's this best-selling novel that is being made. Of course he's going to accept that role, and of course he's going to sign a contract to do all the movies, and he's going to do them to the best of his abilities. He didn't have much to work with that. So the Twilight movies don't speak to how Robert Pattinson is as an actor. They just speak to, how bad the writing was. There were some performances in that didn't even try with the material that they were given, but you can't blame him. There wasn't much there. What I'm surprised about is he's obviously, Matt Reeves is going very young with this Batman. So it's still part of the DCEU, but we must be looking, many years before the Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne, because that was an older, more grizzled Batman. So, we must be going into the past with these movies, which is, I'm fine with that. A younger Batman, it leaves a lot of room for a lot of future movies if these work. There's so many great Batman villains that there can be if these movies are done right, they're done well. We'll be into seeing a lot more of them. The Christopher Nolan trilogy, it could have continued, and I'm sure most people would have been fine with that, despite a lot of people maybe not caring for The Dark Knight Rises. It was still, after The Dark Knight, we were definitely into that universe and would have been into seeing more. So again, if Matt Reeves does Batman right, then we'll be willing to see a few more Batman movies. So having a younger actor is always good to go with, because you can get a lot of movies out of him before he's just too old for the role or anything like that. So I'm into it. Of course, a lot of superhero castings, whether it be the hero themselves or the villains, people aren't thrilled to begin with, and then they end up being great. Just look at Heath Ledger. Look at Michael Keaton as Batman. People didn't see that, and then it ended up being great. Even Ben Affleck, people weren't into him being Bruce Wayne. I think he did a good job. He wasn't really given the material to really shine. I think that was the problem. But I think he did a fine job as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. He just didn't get the project that was worth his talent, so he couldn't shine, and it obviously just became too frustrating for him. So hopefully Matt Reeves does something really well with these Batman movies, and I think Robert Pattinson, I think he has it in him. I'm not worried. Again, like most things I say, only time will tell. We'll see when the first trailer hits, which won't be for a while. This movie's not slated to release until 2021. But again, I'm not too worried. I think this will work as a casting choice. Now, obviously, that we have Batman picked, we're going to have to start looking at who is going to play his nemesis or his villain in this movie. And rumors are popping up on the internet that Macaulay Culkin is being eyed to play the Joker. This should be taken with a big grain of salt because it is just a rumor. I think it popped up on Reddit, so it obviously means absolutely nothing. But just to talk about, would I be into that? Yeah, I would. Macaulay Culkin, we haven't seen him in a while. He hasn't done a lot of work, but he was a great actor. He was a good actor as a kid, and he played some good creepy roles. Or when I say some, I'm really just talking about the movie The Good Son, but he was really creepy in that and really kind of messed up. So acting-wise, it was there. And I don't think he would have lost it too much. I think with the right director, they can pull that back out of him. So I think acting-wise, I think he could do it, and it would be a very different take. He's a weird dude. Macaulay Culkin, if you see him in interviews, if you just, see the odd picture of him, he's strange. Whether it be from past drug use or whatever it is, he's a little different. And, the Joker, a little different. So I think he would be able to give us a Joker that we haven't seen yet, which is hard. Because, even if we're going to get something so different from some actors that it doesn't work, or there's going to be traces of, Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson or another Joker in there with some actors' portrayals. But I kind of think that Macaulay Culkin would be one to just kind of do his own thing, and he's odd enough that it would work as the Joker. Physically, he looks the part. You put some makeup on him, green up his hair. I think with the hair he has and everything like that, it would be in the vein of Heath Ledger's Joker, with the long hair and everything. But they could also cut it off and do it the other way, and it would still look good. He does have that kind of creepy look, and especially I think if you put some clown makeup on him, he would very much look like the Joker. My biggest problem with this rumor is I don't want another Joker. We tried again with Jared Leto, and that didn't work. That failed miserably. Even, they blame that, a bunch of his scenes got cut out of Suicide Squad. The Joker I saw in those scenes wasn't one that I wanted more of. I was fine that those got cut out of the movie because I didn't want to see more of that betrayal. But he is still, it's unsure what's happening with that Joker, so he still might be involved in the DCEU. He might not. It's kind of up in the air. Nobody knows. So, this movie is set in the DCEU. I know, obviously, it, like I said, it's going to be set before because Robert Pattinson's really young, so we're kind of looking for a younger Joker. But if it is still the same Joker, Jared Leto doesn't really age. He could play still kind of young, and it would work. So I don't know that I want to see another Joker. No, I do know. I don't want to see another Joker. I don't even want to see Jared Leto back. I want the focus on some other villain. Batman has so many great villains, so I want this movie to focus on another one. Especially if it's they've been saying it's more neo-noir, detective film. It's more looking at the detective side of Batman. Then I don't think the Joker is the right choice. We also have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, which that is its own separate thing, but it's still just yet another Joker. We're kind of getting overwhelmed with Jokers right now when we have so many great villains to look at. If it is a detective film, then I think, Penguin would probably be pretty good. Two-Face, maybe. Someone more in the, crime lord realm of things rather than just, a crazy villain. I also always want to see more Riddler, so I would be into that. So, yeah. Would I be into Macaulay Culkin being the Joker? Yes. If the Joker's going to be in this and they want to cast him, I'm into it. But I'm just not into having another Joker. The Uncharted film starring Tom Holland has started filming. I don't know where I was during this announcement that Tom Holland was cast to play Nathan Drake in an Uncharted movie. I'm not super into it. I think Tom Holland is a great actor. I think he is amazing as Peter Parker. But I just don't think he's quite Nathan Drake. I think my problem comes from Nathan Drake and Peter Parker are, although very different, almost too similar that if played by the same actor, I think we'll kind of be seeing too much Peter Parker in Nathan Drake. You know, they're both kind of wise asses. They're both, cracking quips during fights and stuff like that. And I just think that, seeing Tom Holland do that is going to be too reminiscent of Peter Parker to really get a good Nathan Drake vibe. I also think Tom Holland looks too young for the role. I don't know when this is set, if it's like early adventures of Nathan Drake. But, he plays a high school student and it's very believable. So, for him to play more of a grown man going on adventures doesn't really work for me. I think he's a great actor. I don't think he'll do a bad job. I just don't think it's what I'm looking for necessarily. I'm a huge fan of the Uncharted games and of Nathan Drake. He might be possibly one of my favorite, if not the favorite, video game protagonists in quite a long time. So to see him portrayed not necessarily the way I think he should be presents a bit of a problem for me. Again, I think Tom Holland's a good actor, so I don't think he's going to do a bad job. I just don't think he's going to really embody Nathan Drake. I think it's going to be, this is Peter Parker going on an adventure without his powers sort of thing. I could be wrong, of course. Hopefully I am. And I don't think this will be a bad movie. I mean, video game movies have not proven to be the greatest. But I've always thought that Uncharted itself is almost a movie, with its storytelling and its cinematic. So I feel like it'd be pretty hard to mess that up going into a movie. But I mean, it's been done before. So I think this will be a good movie. I think I'll enjoy it. I just don't necessarily think it'll be a good Uncharted movie, if that makes sense. It'll be a good adventure movie. It will be a lot of fun. But in terms of embodying Uncharted and what it is, I don't think it'll nail that. So if we could put a different title on it, give the character a different name, then I'd be totally on board. But calling it Uncharted with Nathan Drake, I'm just a little hesitant on that. Also, another video game that they're making a movie of. I haven't played this video game. I've seen it being played. I don't know how it will work making a movie of it. The Division. Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain have just been cast to star in The Division, a movie based on the Ubisoft title. I don't know enough about this game to know exactly how that will work as a movie. The casting, obviously, I think those two are very talented actors. So I'm not scared for that. I think their performances will be great. But what I do know about The Division, there's not enough there to really make a story. So, I mean, if they have a good writer and, obviously they produce something worth telling out of it, then absolutely, games that don't really have too much of a narrative can lend themselves, it's totally open for interpretation. But like I said with video game movies in the past, that has not worked. The interpretation that the writer does on the video game, normally 9 times out of 10, possibly even 10 times out of 10, doesn't work. And we've had great talent behind video game movies before. We had Michael Fassbender in Assassin's Creed, and that really didn't work. So, I mean, just to say these are some great actors in this video game movie doesn't inspire the most confidence still. I'm going to have to see some sort of plot breakdown or something before I can kind of get on board. But for right now, I'm not feeling very good about what this movie is going to be. Even, talented actors doing their best. If the script's no good, as I've said multiple times today, then it's just no good. A good performance can only save a bad script so much, and video game movies, not known for the greatest scripts. But we will see when we get that first trailer. I have faith in the actors. I just don't know who's writing it yet or directing, so I can't have that much faith. And that's all for before the trailer. Now over to the movie review. Rocketman came out last weekend. I went to see it, and I gotta say, I love that movie. It was a fantastic movie. Taron Egerton did an amazing job. The whole cast did a great job. And the movie itself really told Elton's story quite nicely. The one thing that kind of threw me off, and I know the trailers did suggest it, but I didn't know it was going to be to this extent, is how much of a musical this movie really was. I mean, like, I obviously knew, in the same way that Bohemian Rhapsody would probably be considered a musical, because there's performances, there's the songs, and everything like that. This one is like an actual, you could possibly see it on stage kind of musical. They, in the middle of scenes, will break out into song. Of course, they're all Elton John songs, so the soundtrack, without saying, is amazing. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. I mean, I knew they considered it a musical and everything, but I didn't know it would be to this extent. And it worked really nicely, I think. Another thing that really worked well in this movie was they did not pull any punches with the life of Elton John and how far into drugs he got and kind of how he was messing up his whole life. I mean, that is what this movie was all about. And they didn't sugarcoat anything. I know I said that back in my movie review with Bohemian Rhapsody, and the more I sat with it, the more I realized, they kind of did glaze over things. I mean, they talked about it, and they didn't necessarily hide the fact, which is what I said in the review, but they also didn't really show it. So that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but this movie, I think, I prefer because they really did show it, and more than just talk about it, you got to really see how the drugs and the rock and roll life was affecting Elton. And I think one of the reasons for that is, a lot of people were worried about how this would go, how doing a biopic on someone that's still alive would go, but I think you almost have the advantage there because, with Freddie Mercury, you don't want to taint his name or anything like that. Because he can't have a say in it, obviously. So I think there's some fear there that, like, we don't want to go too far, and, like, even though people know these things, we don't want to necessarily show a lot of the dark side of him because that might change people's opinion, and he's not here to defend himself, sort of thing. Versus with this movie, Elton John had a say in the movie. He's an executive producer on the movie. And, it wouldn't work for some people. Some people would say, no, I don't want people knowing that. I don't want to tell that story. But obviously, Elton John was an open book for this. He's not hiding anything that he did. He's not saying he was always perfect by any means. So I think there's the advantage of doing a biopic when someone's alive when they give you the go-ahead to, hey, this was my life. I made some mistakes, so just go for it. So I almost feel like there's an advantage to doing a biopic on someone that's alive. And maybe from this, more biopics will come for people who are still with us. Obviously, biopics for people who have passed away is normally the way it goes. And those are sometimes, a lot of times, actually really great. But with the liberties you can take with someone that's still alive and giving you permission, I think some more really strong biopics could come. Going into the performances, I mean, Taron Egerton, I love that actor anyway. I think he's brilliant. I think he can do, so far, no wrong. But I mean, his performance in this, obviously I wasn't around during the time that this movie is set, but knowing Elton, seeing clips from back in the day and how he was, he just nailed it. I mean, his mannerisms, his voice. I mean, when he was singing, there were times when he was singing that I stopped for a second to think, are they like dubbing in slight like Elton old tracks or something like that? But they weren't. I mean, that was Taron Egerton's voice, and like I've heard his singing voice before. He sang the Elton John song in the movie Sing, and he sang other songs. So I know what his singing voice sounds like, and it was very much that in the movie. But you could tell he kind of tweaked it a little bit to sound exactly like Elton, and that is impressive just in its own. I mean, like, singing anything is hard. Singing is hard. I am not good at it. I've tried many times. But so then to sing and be able to alter your voice slightly while you're singing, to almost do a character while you're singing, which I know is like what a lot of voice actors do and a lot of, Broadway stars do. You're still singing in character. But a lot of it is still your voice, especially for Broadway stars. So to sing well and be able to alter your voice slightly so you sound exactly like the person that you are portraying, that is incredibly impressive. And just the acting performance as well was brilliant. It was funny when it needed to be, tugged at your heartstrings when it needed to. And that kind of goes, I think, for all the actors in this movie. I don't think there were any performances that like took me out. Normally every movie has like that one character where I'm like, you're kind of the weak link. You're not doing this for me. This movie didn't have it. There were smaller parts, parts that were maybe not less significant, but just didn't have as much to do with the story as others. But they were all good. I mean, even Bryce Dallas Howard, who I did not know was playing Elton's mother in this, she did a great job, and she is an actress who sometimes I'm not overly impressed by, but she did a great job in this, which I think speaks to the direction of this movie and just how much everyone clearly cared about this movie and this story. So it was just great. I honestly don't think I have anything bad to say about the movie. What I maybe wanted to see a little more was him once he grew up a bit. But I mean, that's, you only have so much time in a movie, and you know what part of the life you want to focus on. And it's honestly the way I feel in every biopic, is when I see it, there's a part of me that's always like, yeah, but what about this part of their life? Which isn't the part that they chose to focus on. So that's more a thing on me than the movie itself. Is just I'm too greedy when it comes to biopics. I want to see it all, but then we'd have like 5-hour movies, and that's just no good. So I mean, go see this one. If you're an Elton John fan, you'll love it. I mean, my dad loved it. He's the biggest Elton John fan I know, like hardcore Elton John fan. It's why I love Elton so much. I grew up listening to Elton with my dad, and he said he loved it. And I think even if you don't really know Elton, and you don't know, or maybe not, if you're not a fan of his music, if you're not a fan of his music, in the same way that I said don't go see Bohemian Rhapsody if you don't like Queen music, if you don't like Elton John music, then yeah, this movie probably isn't for you. But I don't know many people that don't like Elton John music. But even if you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm fine with Elton John music, still go see this, because it's a great film, a great musical. And they alter some of the songs a little bit, so maybe you'll find some new versions in this that you really do like. But yeah, go see it. Go to theaters to see it. Don't wait for this one to come out. This movie deserves to have you in the theater, seeing it the way it should be seen. I mean, it's a musical, so there's spectacles, which are always great to see on the big screen. So get out there, go see Rocketman. I highly suggest it. And that is all for today. Let me know in the comments if you are excited to see Frozen 2, if you think maybe it's a little overkill. What did you think of Rocketman? And what do you think about those casting choices? Let me know all this and more in the comments. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and the little bell to get notified. And until next time, I've been Richard Barlow. This has been Trailer Park. I'll see you guys around.